Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. I'm going to put together a nice little clip here of the battle we just experienced here in the gaming hall. It was Marian Romans versus Macedonians. And man, was it ugly, let me tell you. Where do I start? Yeah, learning a lot about ancient battles. Now this is all new to me. I really started tipping my toe into Hail Caesar a few years ago when I bought the starter box. Didn't play a single game. They sat in my collection until Mr. Zach of our group, he wanted to start playing Hail Caesar. And then along the way we met Philip, who's in our Discord group, and he had Romans, he had some Macedonians. I'm not sure what else he may have, but this guy is a top-notch painter, guys. He showed up in the gaming hall, and I couldn't believe the army that he had painted. And we're talking phalanx, right? Dudes with the long spears, and beautifully painted. The colors, I called them, they look like jelly bellies, right? Like all the different colors, the blues, the pinks, the reds. You'll see here on the video when we get to it here. So hold on, don't go away yet. Probably almost 6 minutes worth of video footage of the battle. Did not turn out well for the Marian Romans. Learning a lot about fighting in this period, especially against Macedonians. Where do I start? And this is really geared towards guys that are getting into Hail Caesar, just tipping their toe in the swimming pool, as it were. You seasoned Hail Caesar guys, you may know a lot of these tactics, so it's not going to be pertinent to you. But the Roman left flank was marauded right away by the Macedonian cavalry. Now they had good cavalry, and Philip told me that during the game, this is how Alexander the Great ruled the world, or the known world at that time. He put his phalanxes up the middle, and he would pin down your troops fighting them, and then the cavalry would sweep around your flank and take out your flanks and up the rear of your troops, and just put you in disarray. And that's essentially what he did, and we'll show you here in the video. So yeah, so learning lots. At one point he said, hey, do you guys want to start over and reposition your troops? I said, absolutely not. You know, guys, this is how we learn. And this is a lesson I won't forget. Next point. So Macedonians, they're going to have on the Macedonian right flank, they will typically hit you with a large cavalry unit that we did not counter properly. Second point for you new Hail Caesar guys is really look at the stats of archers, because I brought two skirmish level archers. They were loosely formed. They would be called light archers, and they only had 2 attack dice, right? Or 2 dice that you roll when you are basically getting your 2 hits, your ranged attack. I was only getting 2 dice. Pretty pointless. I'm going to take another hard look at this list and see if there are some better archers. Point 3, Roman players playing Macedonians. Bring good infantry, right? Bring good infantry, especially on the Marian list. It's the biblical and classical book from Hail Caesar. They'll have the lists there for Marian, and they also have Imperial Romans. I'm really going to rethink Roman cavalry, maybe have a unit as a skirmisher. Now on the Macedonian left flank, you will find that they had, it was like hoplites, some units like that basically guarded the left flank. So you'll see here, we'll start rolling the tape here, and I'll go up to the corner here for you. And we'll break it down as much as I can. I want to throw out some initial tips for you guys that are building Roman lists, or even want to build a Macedonian army. I would say Macedonians is a great army to build. I can't even imagine the hours that Philip put into this army with all the detail. I'm sure it was quite a bit. I wouldn't, if that were my army, and I said this when we were playing in the gaming hall, you know, I see wargaming collecting as an asset. So what would that army be worth? If that were my army and I had to sell it, I wouldn't take any less than $5,000 for that army. If I were if I get to the point I can't really paint much anymore, maybe my eyes go, whatever, I would gladly spend $5,000 on this quality of an army. It's literally like heirloom quality, definitely display case quality. It's something that would be held onto and cherished. And the last game we played a couple months back, his Romans that he brought, and of course he's all pewter, no plastic kits. All right, I said, well, you can do curls with these units, right? Because they're so heavy, like my Roman cavalry unit. I mean, the thing's like moving a chunk of lead around the board. But yeah, man, it's like I was so impressed. My army looked terrible next to his army. I almost didn't want to fight them because they're too beautiful, right? It was something like that. So enough about going on about that. But I just wanted to give credit where credit's due. And we've got some guys here in the Discord group, the Wizard, John Eagles, you know, like Philip, detail guys. I mean, they've got all these details picked out. I'm more of a tabletop standard guy, right? So there's the disconnect. But I still love to watch and look at a beautiful army, right? It's just something really to marvel at. I'm trying to think of any other tips I could give you guys that I learned from this battle fighting Macedonians. So I went over, really make sure you're getting archers. You got at least 4 ranged attack dice at least. And then I would maybe have them as something to hold back and just kind of act as something like an antagonist force. But really leaning on studying your infantries. Marian Romans had a lot of units that were rolled into the Roman army from areas that they had conquered. So I'm going to go back through that list. I'm going to really zero in on some of the other factions that I didn't look at close enough at, so I can build a stronger infantry force. So yeah, and then using some different tactics. I know that I got to guard my flanks against that cavalry right off the bat. We had an elephant. We had a standard cavalry unit, Roman cavalry unit. So yeah, really studying those statistics, guys. Again, going back to just solid list building. If you're playing Flames War Battle Group, you know, you're playing 40K. Really spending the time, you know, looking at the stats of the troops and weighing things out, especially against Macedonians. All right, I'm going to get the clip rolling here, and you can see here we have the pan from the right to the left flank of the Romans, and those are the Macedonians. You can see that beautiful phalanx is there, and that cavalry on the Roman left flank there. And you can see we start off right off the bat. Look how weak our flank is, and we're probably spread out a little too thin in light of what the Macedonians are going to bring on that left flank. Each one of those blocks of troops is a standard unit. Excuse me, standard unit. And there's Philip. He's bringing, or I'm sorry, Paul. That's Mr. Paul. Another good player. He's a good player. It has nothing to do with your skill. It comes down to the dice and how you're positioning your troops, guys, in the list building. Now here I'm bringing my cavalry. See, around that right flank. My idea was I was going to start bearing on his flank and harassing his flank. There's our elephant. Probably should have been on that far left flank with the cavalry unit. Right? So we got to move first, but we also didn't get to roll who sets up first. That was something we forgot. We just had a great time. We had some good conversations. So he brought his archer, loose skirmisher archer group up. Then he just kind of got them off the movement base so that he could rank them up as, you know, fire arrows into the oncoming cavalry that he knew was going to be bearing down on him. Now here comes that Macedonian cavalry. You see, it's custom bases he's made where they fit into slots into, I believe, those sheet steel. Right. And he keeps them in a nice big wooden box, and I'm telling you, that thing is weigh 880 pounds. So they're working out the rolls here, what they need to roll when they get into hand-to-hand combat. That's what we're resolving here. And we're already looking at each other, Paul and I, and just the array that it's against us wasn't looking good right from the initial movement of the Macedonians. Now I'm going to sweep back across here. They're going to work it out. The Romans were really hurt that turn. We've already got a wound. You see, I call them blood drops. They're just little glass beads. I didn't realize you can get them on Amazon. They're basically used with aquariums, and it comes in a big giant bag for cheap. They're great, and I've got a bag of green ones too. I'll probably get the blue ones too at some point, so we have different colors for various things. But they work great at keeping track of your wounds. It's a good visual aid. And the more red blood drops you see on the battlefield, the more bloody the battle is. All right. At the end of the game, guys, when we cleared the board, there was red blood drops all over the battlefield, except on my side of the board, where I just couldn't get my troops to move. I kept missing my command rolls. So I realized I needed to get that cavalry back over to that left flank, so I made them do an about face and come back around, and they've got a 9-inch movement rate. I could move them up possibly of 3 movements a turn, but I could not get that command roll on that unit. I failed it twice. But you can see what he immediately went into a defensive posture, because that loose cavalry unit was coming at my Romans, and he backed them off and held them because I was coming around that flank with my cavalry. So he immediately reacted to the threat. Now here we go, the beautiful phalanx is moving up. Now in front of the phalanxes, he's got archers. He had some loose archers, some skirmishers, and he has slingers. You see the slingers are there to the left of the archers. So we started taking the auxiliaries. These were a Galatian auxiliary unit that he squared up to take on the phalanx, and I'm like, oh, even though the barbarians have a good charge up against phalanx, that doesn't happen. You also cannot use your cavalry against a phalanx. You cannot charge phalanx with your cavalry or your elephant. So there's the advantage of building a phalanx. And remember, Romans had auxiliary units that had phalanxes, so that's something to possibly think about including in your Roman army, especially for like the middle body of your line. Okay, here we started seeing the Galatians starting to fall back. At this point, our thought was, let's pull everybody back. That left flank is gone. Let's consolidate and form almost like a small little fortress based off of where my right position was. Now you see my cavalry's coming back around. They essentially did zip the whole game. They just rode around. I was able to get a unit of my Thracians up on that unit there. There's my archers up on the hill, and they were doing absolutely diddly squat. I got a few wounds on some of his units, but that was about it. So you see here we're falling back. He's got a Roman unit that's still facing the cavalry that's literally in total retreat. And again, you see him, Paul's falling back. We're trying to form a new left flank, essentially, in a defensive position. I had 2 units there with my leader. I could not get my units to move. I kept failing my command test. That's another good aspect of this game. It's all, yelling at your troops, and if they either hear you or they get confused. So here's my essentially almost untouched right flank. And I was no help to the left side at all. I did literally nothing. It's like my troops were stuck in glue. All right, guys, we're gonna finish up the end of this clip, and then I'll just go into a couple things that I thought about, because this is the last of the clip. You see, by this point we had just basically folded, and Philip basically looked at me and said, "Hey, are you done? Are you ready to quit?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, it's pointless at this point." So that's the big thing, guys. You have to be able to protect your flanks as Romans. You have to have, like Philip said, and he's played more Hail Caesar than I have, and his word of advice was, the Romans are strong with their infantry, so use infantry and use the strengths of infantry. So Marian, you can't bring all Romans. You're going to have to bring auxiliaries in, and look at those auxiliaries on the Marian Roman list, which I'll be doing by the next game. Because I said we need to do this again. Same kind of thing. I'm going to change up the list. And then the other thought was, hey, what about doing like a siege where the Romans are inside their fort and the Macedonians attack them, and do more like a siege? That's another thought for a future game. Other things that I would say about the gaming hall experience is, initially before the game starts, we just sit and have some great conversation. Okay, I think we're all thirsty for that with these lockdowns, and with everybody who, like us, we're still able to work, Paul, Philip, and myself, but not a lot of getting out, not a lot of wanting to go places and be forced to wear a face diaper, and so there's a hunger there for face-to-face contact with people. Excuse me. So there's that during the game, and I highly encourage you guys to do this. Even if you play at your place or you play at a club, bring some food. Bring some good food. Some snack foods. My wife is gracious enough, and she's a gourmet cook. She has her own YouTube channel where she cooks and does a lot of other things, canning and beauty stuff. But I'm fortunate that she's here, and she made us homemade stromboli. We always have a veggie plate so we can get our veggies. But assign guys in your club to, hey, you bring a veggie plate, and you just stop. And most grocery stores have them pre-made, right? All you have to do is bring one. You don't necessarily have to make a veggie tray. But think of it in terms like that. Like, this is an event. We don't get to do this a lot. Get together with a group of guys or girls and guys to play war games and to make an event of it. We had Gladiator on the flat screen, and turned down. We have the food, we got the snacks, we had the main dish, the stromboli, homemade pizza sauce. Stop at your favorite pizzeria, bring some pizza. Really do it up. I say go for it. When you do these group games, especially you UK guys that are locked down, when things get back to normal, hey, everybody bring a little something. Somebody can bring some cookies. Another guy could bring a veggie plate. Another guy could bring a couple pizzas, whatever, and everyone bring a little something, and make it something special, man. That was so nice. The games we've had here, I really look forward to them. And after it's over and everyone leaves, I'm like, man, that was fun. Not only it was great conversations before and after the game. I mean, we would spend another couple of hours after the game just sitting around, shooting the shit and just, talking about life and world events and what we do for a living, talking about our families. It's a great thing, man. Such a great thing. It's another facet on this jewel, this gaming jewel, guys. This isn't like video games where you got your headset on. And trust me, I've been there, done that, but it's nothing like gaming with a group of guys or girls. If you're lucky enough to have girls that like to game in your group, seriously. Yeah, my wife was even amazed at Philip's army. I said, you got to come down here and see this army. And I even convinced her to stand there for a little while and actually watch what we're doing and how it works, what wargaming is. And after everyone left, she said, hey, that looks like fun. It really does. The dice rolling and the moving and the jeering each other, and it's just a good old-fashioned fun, guys. And I encourage you, UK guys, and any of you other guys out there who've been locked down and live in a state in the US that's locked down, to keep your head up. I think we're almost there, guys. I think especially over in Europe, the natives are getting a little restless over there. I'm seeing a lot of more protests. We're seeing protests over here to get things open back up. So I'm all for that. If you're afraid and your comorbidities, you'll need to stay home. You need to limit your exposure to other people. But those of us that are younger, that are very healthy, we need to get on with life. We're all going to go nuts. But yeah, I really relish this. I'm really looking forward to April 10th. Coming up, we're going to be doing Battle Group. We're going to be playing out of the Overlord book. I've got mine coming this coming week. I've almost got all the Battle Group books, the campaign books. They're about $20-25. They're great books, a lot of backgrounds, a lot of great lists. And then we're going to start putting our plans together and starting to formulate. Here in the gaming hall, we're going to have 3v3 guys. We're going to do another big battle group battle. And I'm looking forward to it. Probably going to have some paratroopers. We're probably going to have some armored groups. There's going to be all kinds of shenanigans going on. But we're essentially going to stick with that same setup. Open grass with hills. I'm going to add some hedgerows and things like that. It's not going to be... we might have like a farm or something. More like open countryside fighting, right? Like you'd see in Saving Private Ryan, right? When they're out in the bush. So yeah. So here's the other thing I'm going to throw out here, guys, on the channel. Is I know there's a huge demand for the World War II gaming. The vast majority of guys are World War II games. So I'm going to at least do 1/3 of my games going forward here in the gaming hall over the next year and moving forward. At least 1/3, possibly edging up to almost 1/2 of the games we're going to plan here in the gaming hall will be World War II base. It'll either be 28 mil or 15 mil. Mostly 15 mil. Everybody's got Flames of War stuff that you can also use with Battle Group. Everyone has most of the guys that I'm gaming with have good collections of 15 mil, so it's probably mostly going to be 15 mil. And yeah, so that's something to look forward to on the channel. I recognize this. We got a guy in our group. He won't even play anything unless it is World War II. But I still want to do my Star Wars Legion. I haven't been able to get even a couple of guys to get an interest in that yet. To come play in the gaming hall with me. X-Wing. Paul is getting interested in getting in more into X-Wing. He already plays Armada. I have my 2 6-foot double-sided mats from Cigar Box. No, Deep Cut Studio. I'm sorry. It's Deep Cut Studio over in Lithuania. One side of the mats are Starfield, and one side of the mat is Caribbean Ocean. So that's coming here. We probably in May, we may be doing a very large Black Seas battle. Paul's working on some ships. I've got some more ships to finish up. And I've now got a 12-foot stretch of ocean to play on. Working on a coastal fort. Possibly. Some other little tidbits, and moving forward, we definitely want to get into some large-scale X-Wing battles on my Starfield map. We'll have a 12-foot Starfield map to play on, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We can really have some large TIE X-Wing battles, etc. And as I said before, we're looking at, by next season in 2022, adding Armada, which that 12-foot stretch of mat is really going to be nice for Armada battles. So there's some things to look forward to. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I encourage you, if you guys have not played Ancients, it's not a huge expense to get the Hail Caesar starter box. You're going to get some type of barbarians. You're going to get a nice amount of Romans. It's a great starting point. It'll come with your mini rule book, all the stuff you'll need to get started initially. And then build off of there, just like most game systems, they'll have army books. The one we're really digging playing out of right now is the biblical classical book. That's got all your favorites in there, and even has Egyptians, because that's something I want to do in the future. I want to build an Egyptian army. And the other thing I want to look at for Hail Caesar is working in some chariots, because those are pretty badass if you look at the stats on chariots. So with that, I'll let you guys go. And look for the new podcast, guys. That's really going to be a good chunk of the content here on the channel moving forward, is doing live podcasts. We try to do them once a week on Sunday afternoons, unless I'm busy doing something else. So I'll let you go. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. And feel free to comment below. And get on over to that Discord link I'm going to put down in the description box, and get on over to our Discord group. A lot of good things going on over there. And I'll see you next time. Ciao.